I made myself a promise earlier today that during this interview, I was going to conduct myself in a professional manner and that I was not going to geek out by the fact that I've been waiting 2 years for this interview to talk about the book Hollywood Park, to talk about the album from AIRBORNE TOXIC EVENT of the exact same name, and it's finally happening today and here. Darren, Miriam, and Mikel, we have AIRBORNE TOXIC EVENT here in the Point Studio. Thank you very much for joining us today.
Absolutely. Thank you for having us. Good morning.
I've never had an interview ever where I've wanted to start out and ask the lead singer how his brother and his nephews are doing with him not being in a band or any of those kinds of things. But this book, Hollywood Park, man, like, I just got really deep into it. It was so wonderfully and beautifully written, and I don't know any other way to start this out, Mikel, so sorry about this, but you started your life with your family in a cult.
Yeah.
And you were not like, because I was kind of reading over things last night because it had been a while since I read the book. Like, when your mom came to get you and your brother, you didn't know what a mom was. You didn't know what a brother was. You didn't know that these people were legitimately your blood.
Yeah, no, it was an odd situation. Not anything I would have myself chosen.
Right.
It started off as a drug rehabilitation place that my dad went to get clean off heroin when he got out of prison, and it was a really good place for him. He would say that it saved his life, and a lot of people would say that they got clean and it saved their lives, and then it morphed into this more sort of extremist community over time. And he met my mom there, who was what they call a lifestyler. She wasn't an addict. She was just someone who wanted to change the world, kind of one of these change the world hippie types. She was part of the free speech movement in Berkeley, and so my brother and I, we were born there, and then they had what they called was a school, but it was an orphanage, and we all just lived in the orphanage for years, and it was sort of like you were considered the society's children or whatever. So yeah, it's a nice way to start the morning talking about all this.
But I didn't know how to slowly ease into that by any stretch of the imagination.
The morning show energy. Good morning. Okay, welcome. Yeah, so a cult, huh? Orphanage. Talk about emotional trauma.
That must have been wacky.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I did not mean to start it out that way by any stretch.
I'm totally fine.
But I think
talking about it.
But I think the thing about the book that really drew me in, obviously, is I have a really great relationship with my dad, and we have bonded through the years about music and sports. But the name of the book is Hollywood Park because your dad would take you guys to watch the horses.
That's right. So we escaped. We left. We lived on the run for a while. A bunch of stuff went down. Eventually, my dad landed in L.A. We landed in Salem, Oregon. We'd go visit him in the summers. And my dad was like a folk hero to us. And he was just like,
the coolest.
He was the coolest. We just thought of him as like this Clint Eastwood type, like he had all these great stories. Because he'd done time and everything, but it was never like violent. He was just like, they did all kinds of screwball stuff where they stole cars or sold drugs or stole credit card numbers. And I used to ask him if it was like organized crime, and he's like, yeah, it's kind of like disorganized crime. So we were too high to be organized. So he liked to bet the races, and so when we'd go, he would just take us with him, and he'd take us to Hollywood Park, which was this shady racetrack. It's called Hollywood Park, which it conjures in your mind this really beautiful place. It was this total rundown joint. I mean, when it first opened, it was nice in like 1941, I guess. But
right.
By the time we got there, it was pretty rough. And he had all his like shady friends, be like, hey, Jimmy, bring in your boys. What you got in the fifth, kid? He's like, I got Surfing Angel. We literally learned fractions. That's how I learned fractions was by learning odds.
Life skills, man.
I was like 6 years old, like running up with my $2. Like, you're like, sorry, you're not old enough to place a bet. My dad would come up and place the bet for me. And so, yeah, we would, and then through the years, as I grew older, I ended up becoming really close with my dad, even though I didn't know him when I started my life. And he was a great guy. It's he'd seen so much life. He was one of these people you couldn't shock because he'd seen everything. You know what I mean?
Right.
You could reason with him about your life, and he was funny, and he was just like a warm dude, and just really there for my brother and I. We eventually went to live with him, and he's a big reason why I was able to I had some moments in life where it wasn't clear I was going to make it,
right.
Let's say, out. No one in my family's made it past 8th grade before me, so I think there was a lot of like maybe I was going to end up in that same trajectory. But then weirdly enough, just like he was so supportive, and he was always like, "You got to go to college, kid. You know, bust your ass till you're 23, and then you can live on Easy Street." That's how he'd be like. He'd say, "You got the world by the ass."
And you graduated from Stanford?
Yeah, I got a scholarship to Stanford, and I went there and got out, and now I'm in a rock band, which I feel like really is good use to that.
With that Stanford degree.
Actually, there's the guys from Young the Giant. They're Stanford guys, and there's
wonderful guys too.
Others. Yeah, really nice dudes.
And a great band. Well, Airborne Toxic Event tonight with Mondo Cosmo at Delmar Hall. And listen, I love Mondo Cosmo.
I love Mondo Cosmo too. I was so excited that they were going to come out on the tour. Like that's like some of my. When we asked them, I was like, "Listen, just come out. Like you're some of my favorite music of the last like 5 years is from you." So like, it wasn't just like an opening slot. I was just a fan. I was excited that they were going to do it.
A couple of years ago at Lollapalooza, it would have been a few at this point. He did some kind of promo at the Chicago Art Museum where he stood in this grand hall and just sang. No instrument, nothing, and it was beautiful.
Yeah.
Like it's one of those. His voice is like one of those voices of the angels kind of thing.
I'm sitting right here, dude. We're out of here. That's it.
That's it. Well, it's the first time I've had somebody walk out. Well, we've got the Airborne Toxic Event here in the Point Studio. They're playing Delmar Hall tonight. Tickets are available. They brought instruments and such. Would you mind playing? Even though I'm lavishing all of these niceties on Mondo Cosmo.
No, I'm gonna try and sound like Mondo Cosmo. All right. Well, I'm here with Mimi, our violin player, and Darren, who plays drums and has founded the band with me years ago. And I guess we'll play "Faithless." A new single called Faithless. This is a song about, I don't know, the pandemic or something. Just trying to get out of the room that you've been locked in for the last few years. You right? You gonna count me in? Yeah. Wake up early, my head ain't right. It's a fever dream of what we did last night. I flex my fingers and feel my age. 15 minutes till we take the stage, and I call you when I wake up drunk. My arms are cold and my head is sunk. They say the lights go up at 10 p.m. Make sure you're okay by then. And the signs are the signs. They carry me far from home, but you can't give away something you never owned. You owned. No desire burns like fire. Just give me one single second to breathe. I'll turn off the lights before I leave. Our fate is faithless, floating, weightless, looking for lost souls like us. We never had a choice but to give up in the secrets we keep, buried inside our lungs. It's no secret to me. We were just far too young, too young, too young to say you can't give something and take it back. Just pull this knife out from my neck. Don't tell me that you did your best. God only knows it was a lucky guess. And now all of my friends are dropping out. It's way too quiet when your head's so loud, like falling into empty space. Sit and feel your heartbeat race. Oh, desire burns like fire. Give me one single second to breathe. I'll turn off the lights before I leave. Our fate is faithless, flow lost souls just like us. We never had a choice but to give up. And the secrets we keep buried inside our lungs, it's no secret to me. We were just far too dumb, too dumb, too dumb. Oh, desire burns like fire. Give me 1 single second to breathe. I'll turn off the lights before I leave. Our fate is faithless, floating, weightless, looking for lost souls like us. We never had a choice but to give up.
Airborne Toxic Event. They will be live at Del Mar Hall tonight with Mondo Cosmo. That was fantastic. What is it like to be able to make a person's day better with a song? I know that that's a real broad question and everything, and I know, but I mean, I don't have that ability. You know what I'm saying? You guys have the ability. You did that. You made somebody out there. That has to be an amazing feeling.
I mean, yeah, it is. It really is. Like, you have fans come up and tell you, you know, great show. I love this song. I love Sometime Around Midnight. I love Faithless. It is. It's a really good feeling. I mean,
is it ever?
Who doesn't like to make somebody's day brighter? You know?
Is it ever? This is not the right word that I want to use, but is it ever sometimes awkward, and not necessarily in a bad sense,
Like,
you know?
when
Because
you go to like a morning show and they start like, so you're an orphan, huh? So anyway, I'm totally kidding. I'm just
really-
busting your chops.
I really would not try to be that guy. I
was
swear.
a total joke. It was actually a very appropriate question.
Yeah, but no, but I mean, like it's just something else to me. Like that you have that
I don't know
power.
if it's awkward. You sort of recognize your place as one that's very. You're grateful for it. You're lucky that you had an opportunity to do it, and particularly with the pandemic, there was a lot of time. Like I was sick of like being on the road a few years ago, and then if it goes away, and suddenly you're like, oh man, you miss it, and then you have this sort of insight, or I did anyway, where it was like you just like, man, I get to do this thing that's so just, it's just so joyful. It's just like we get to stand in a room and play and. It's the best job in the world, yeah. Well, professional athlete, but then after professional athlete, rock
People
star.
are out there to see you, like, to have a good time. They're out to see you. They're out to, like, just have a good time whenever they go out to a show, which is incredible, you know?
Absolutely so. And I feel like I've touched on all the wrong bases here today. So I feel like Mikel, no,
I'm
not
totally
for real.
joking about that. It's been
But here, okay, I'm gonna here I am. Why are your Lakers so bad?
Oh man, I got 2 words: Russell Westbrook.
Yeah, that's a bad
Man,
match.
We could have
man.
had Alex Caruso, KCP.
Even the John Wall trade would have been better than Russell
We could have
Westbrook,
Buddy
right?
Hield. We could have had Kyle Lowry. Instead, we got Russell. I don't understand it. I don't understand it.
I'm sorry, I
thought
didn't
was
mean-
when it happened, I was like, "What are you doing?" I've been a Laker fan my whole life, and it was like, dude, what are you doing? I wasn't a fan of Russell Westbrook's game. Like, as a person, I'm sure he's fine, but like his game was just never something I admired. So.
And not one that seems like it's going to do much with Anthony Davis and LeBron James.
Why would
on
you take
top
the
of
ball out of LeBron's hands? It doesn't make sense to
I don't
me.
even know basketball,
He's got like
and I
the
know
best
that.
basketball IQ in the history of the game. It doesn't make any sense.
You can see Airborne Toxic Event tonight with Mondo Cosmo at Del Mar Hall. Tickets are available. Would you guys mind playing one more for us?
Yeah, sure. All right, we'll play Sometime Around Midnight. And it starts sometime around midnight. At least that's when you lose yourself for a minute or two. As you stand under the bar lights, and the band plays some song about forgetting yourself for a while. In the pianos, this melancholy soundtrack to her smile. In that white dress she's wearing, you haven't seen her for a while. But you know that she's watching. She's laughing and turning, she's holding a tonic like a cross. The room's suddenly spinning, she walks up to ask how you are. And you can smell her perfume, you can see her lying naked in your arms. And so there's a change in your emotions, and all these memories start rushing like feral waves through your mind. Of the curl of your bodies like two perfect circles entwined. And you're just hopeless and homeless and lost in the haze of the wine. Then she leaves with someone you don't know, but she made sure you saw her. She looks right at you and boasts. As she walks out the door, your blood boiling, your stomach in roast. And your friends say, what is it? You look like you've seen a ghost. Under the streetlights, you're too drunk to notice that everyone is staring at you. You just don't care what you look like, the world is falling around you. You just have to see her, 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 you just have to see her. You know that she'll break you in two.
Airborne Toxic Event. See them tonight at Del Mar Hall. Mondo Cosmo opens up the show. Tickets are available. Thank you guys so much. It was so wonderful to see you, and you sounded amazing.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having us.
And also check out Mikel's book, Hollywood Park. It is just an incredible, incredible read. Again, thank you very much for being here today.
Thanks for having us.